Let's get fancy. My friend, to whom I had made the ruffle skirt a few weeks ago, also liked this plumeti one, so let's get to it, because this is going to be a lot of work. The other one was easy enough because the fabric came already with the ruffles, which was really interesting. So I only had to close it and add the elastic band, apart from making the lining. But for this one I have to make like a top for the skirt in black, which is going to be lined as well, and then I'm going to case the plumeti inside with pleats. I'm not going to gather it, and when to gather, when to use pleats. In this case, you have to realize that gathering makes everything bulkier and adds volume, and we don't want that on the hip area. We want it to be a bit flatter, so that's what pleats do. They come flat. So stay tuned, because at the end of the video I'll tell you how much it was, everything, and how long it took, apart from any changes or difficulties I had while doing it. Measurements you need to take for this skirt, and for any skirt sort of. I took her waist contour measurement and the hip one as well, and then the length. And for the length I'm going to need to take into account that the top is going to be minus the plumeti, the tulle bit, so it doesn't drag her, so she doesn't drag the skirt. And you might be thinking, well, this is a bit see-through, isn't it? Yes, it is, but she's going to wear it like the girl, with a little short. You can wear a culotte, or you can even wear something underneath, like a sort of skirt, or maybe even line it. I'm going to start with my black fabric, which is a polyester, placing my measurements, half my measurements, because I'm going to do the same for front and back. I'm not going to do any darts, just seamless. And for that, just trace half your measurement, in my case 31 and 46. And then what you really need to do is to cut or soften the corner, so it doesn't have this sharp corners at the end. If you do this, then when you go down to the bottom, it's going to have like this peaks on the sides, which are not really nice, they're dreadful, because you'll drag it. So you need to soften those edges, and on the waistline in the middle, come down 1 centimeter so it gets the shape of the body. So with this cut I have 4 pieces, front and back, skirt and lining. So let me put them away in case I cut them again by mistake or something. So let's go with the tulle. And for this, apparently it's better to do it with your rotary cutter, the pizza one, but I need to get blades for that. I'm not a fan of it. Let me know what you think, if you like it, if you don't. But apparently it's better because you don't leave any traces from cutting with your scissors. But I'm going to be really careful, measure, take my time and cut it. So I can sew one side with French seam, and the other one I'm going to leave open because I need to insert the zip. And this way I can pleat it. Having cut my yoke and lining, I'm going to sew them right sides together, 2 and 2, and then pleat the plumette. Then sew it right sides together to the yoke, add the lining, the zipper, and the stitch it, and it's finished. We always sew right sides together, so the seam faces the inside and you don't see it. But with French seams, it's the other way around. You have to sew it wrong sides together, and this really awful bit is going to be cased in the seam when you put it right sides together. And that way it's ideal because you don't see any seams and you don't have any raw edges and it won't fray. So it has many advantages, and for these things fabrics are really good. And now with my 2 meters 80 fabric, I'm going to start pleating. Tips when using tulle: you need to use a really thin needle, of course, and then you can't really pin it because they won't hold, so you have to use little pegs or even safety pins. So let's start pleating. I'm going to pleat them really small so they look nice and have more presence. And I'm going to take into account that I need to leave room on the other side, not just to sew it, but to insert the zip as well. Chiquita aguacero, madre mía. So I've only done half of it, but because I know the measurement, I want it to be 90 centimeters. So I'm going to make sure I have half of it, and then I can do the other half. I'm basting just because it's so, this is like not only slippery, but you breathe and it moves. So I'm basting it so they stay in place. I don't usually baste unless it's something like this that I don't feel comfortable with. And one thing when basting it, just be careful you don't pull because you'll end up gathering it as well. So now that I have all my tulle basted, so the pleats don't move, I'm going to I think it's the right idea to start sewing together the yoke panels so I can sew the tulle to them, at least to one of them, because the other I have to do the top and put the zip in. And this is how it's looking. I think it's looking amazing. It's going to be really pretty. So I'm going to sew the other part of the yoke, the lining, on top. And I'm not going to understitch it until I have the zipper in. I think this is being one of the most difficult things I've sewn in the last, I don't know when, because even I did a dress in December, really nice, with lots of different features, darts, neckline facings, lots of things. But I'm finding this one quite challenging because it's see-through, so you don't want any seams around, and apart from that, I don't know. It's not that I'm finding it difficult because I'm having problems sewing it. It's just, it's being difficult. The zip is easy to sew, you just need to open it so the little teeth are outwards so you can sew in there. Then I'm going to understitch, which is really important, so the facing or the lining is stable and doesn't move. And then I'm going to fold the facing and sew on top of the zip again, making a little fold so the plumeti bit, all the tulle, it's already hemmed and you don't see any seams, so I can sew all around it. So this is looking good, it's finished, and I have a bit of a doubt. I don't know if I should hem the bottom or not. When you're sewing tulle on this kind of fabric, you just leave it as it is. You don't hem it because it's a bit weird to do, and the result will be, it doesn't settle, it'll be bulky, and it won't be as airy and flowy. So I'm going to leave it as it is. It's just cut, and let's see what she thinks. I've quite enjoyed doing it. It's really nice, it's eye-catching, and I don't think it will ever go out of fashion. I think it's quite wearable and it's like a forever piece. I didn't have any problem sewing it at all, but it is a long sewing project. It is like almost 3 hours, but the good thing is that the fabric was really cheap. So the plumeti was only 15 euros, the 2 meters, and then the top only 6. So for 21 euros you can have a really nice piece. And it's quite wearable. With a pair of thick tights you can wear it for a more casual look, and then even with a pencil skirt, a black pencil skirt underneath, it will look really nice as well. Now I'm wearing it with it's like a gym culotte, and it looks really fashionable, but you can also do it a bit of a more discreet way. So let me know down in the comments what you thought, if you like this look, if you would like to recreate it, and don't forget to subscribe and to have a look at the other evening projects I've done, evening gowns. Bye!